On. There we go. All right, let's see. I'm trying to work on the lights. For some reason, my ring light decided to just stop working just now. So I guess this is how we're going to do it, at least this evening. All right, I'm still waiting for myself to pop up there. 5 people are here. All right, so as I said in the chat, let's go. Still waiting. It's been 50 seconds. Almost a minute, still nothing. Well, this is odd. Could it be that it's just not working on my end? You'll have to forgive me a moment. Ah, here I am. Okay, so I'm live. I'm sorry? Were you talking to me? Right then. Oh, hi, I'm live. It's the Nazarite, bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore with less lighting than I would like to have, but my ring light decided to just up and quit on me. Also, the fast ended exactly an hour ago. The fast ended an hour ago. It was the fast of the 17th of Tammuz, which opens up the 3 weeks, also known as the weeks between the days between the straits, between the narrow paths. Traditionally, these 3 weeks between the 17th of Tammuz and the 9th of Av have been marred by, well, negative things, evil things, terrible things, horrible things throughout history. There are 5 things specifically that happened on this day that our sages, because of which our sages instituted a day of fast. The more famous one is the walls of Jerusalem being breached by the Babylonian army, but it was also a time when the first tablets were smashed at the foot of Mount Sinai, and a statue was put at the temple. Apostmus, the Roman centurion or general, whoever it was here in the area, burned the scroll of Torah. And the daily offerings of day and evening, the tamid, the regular offerings of 2 lambs, it had to be stopped as well. Different things happened on the 17th of Tammuz, and so the fast, any fast in the Hebrew faith that is a fast of mourning, we have a few fasts of mourning and one fast of jubilation. The fast of jubilation is the holiday of atonement, my favorite holiday, but the fasts that are of mourning are there to kind of help us to get back on the righteous path. I mean, to some degree, the fast of Yom Kippur, the holiday of atonement, is also there, but it's very different, very different. Also, the only day of fast that is instituted in the Torah is the holiday of atonement, Yom Kippur, a happy fast. All of the rest of the fasts today, the 9th of Av, the 10th of Tevet, the fast of Gedalia, the fast of Esther, and others throughout the year, are fasts of mourning. And we pray that these days of mourning may turn to dancing very soon. And there's the prophecy, right? There's the prophecy that this fast and the fast of Av and the fast of Tevet and the fast of Tishrei will become days of jubilation and dancing and good times. So we're hoping, we're praying that we will be able to get our act together so that these days will turn very quickly from mourning to dancing. It was a difficult fast, not because it's a difficult fast by and large, it's just from sunrise to sundown pretty much, but it was very hot today. It was very hot today. I tried to be indoors more. I worked from home today, but I still had to go out and do stuff, run errands and whatnot, and it was difficult. So I've been outside on a fast day in the summer. I know what it's like to work outside and fast, and thankfully I was able to work from home today, so it's all good. But oh man, it can be really, really difficult, and I can just hope and pray that we had a good fast in the sense of, pardon, a fast that will be able to set us back on the path of righteousness and of repentance, right, to help us get back into contact with who we are and what we're supposed to be doing here. Rabbi Nachman of Breslev, in his book Likutei Moharan, he says that, and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, that the idea of the fast is that the mind is in control of the body. The body has a biological, physical need for sustenance, for food, for drink, right, water. And the mind, at least for a time, for a very short period of time, right, sunrise to sundown, says, no, not today. Today, it's a different focus. Today, it's not the stomach, right, and it's not the, it's not the path of consummatory reward of food and drink that will be in charge. Today, it will be the intellect and the higher mind, right? The higher parts of the body and the soul who will be in command, at least until the fast ends. So giving that superiority, giving that authority, let's say, to the brain, to the mind, over the stomach, right? Over the will, the biological need to eat and have sustenance throughout the day, that's something which is sort of supposed to say, hey, you don't always need to have your physical body in charge. It has a lot of merit, but you also need to know when to have to reverse, right? To do the reverse and have the mind, the brain, the higher self in charge. It's also that a fast day is one where our blood, let's say, is lessened, and it's supposed to be seen as something that would be put on the altar, as if we sacrificed our blood, as if we sacrificed our the fat, literally the fat in our body that has been diminished ever so slightly because of the lack of intake of food. But I actually slept the last couple of hours. I really, it was so hot and I couldn't take it, and I was so tired. And I usually don't nap during the weekdays, but from around 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., I just could not. I was really falling asleep, and the little one had fallen asleep, the baby. So I was just like, oh, I'm gonna sleep for a couple hours. So it was a little difficult today, even though it is a very easy fast, relatively speaking. So I hope and pray that it was a fast that would influence me, us, for the better. Okay, let's see. So the Q&A is open. I know that last time it wasn't really used, and that's all good. So I'll be going in and out. So there's the chat going on here, and there's the Q&A going on here. There's the chat from yesterday that I didn't finish, and the chat from 2 days ago that I didn't finish, and we'll see what I get to today. Right now, let's just see who's here. So we have Sneezer here. Camstract is here. Hi, Camstract. Reginald Ville or Vile, I'm assuming it's Ville, is here as well. Robert is here. Sneezer, that I mentioned, Sneezer is here. Peace and Coffee was here earlier, but the chat doesn't show him to me now. Anthony Sawicki. Are you Italian? Or, because, Anthony is pretty Italian. Jude. Why, yes, I am. I am of the Kingdom of Judea. That's who's here now, but I know I see more people. I have 8 people watching and 2 likes. Hello there. Hopefully tomorrow or after the broadcast, I'll be able to figure out what happened to the lights. So it's a little bit darker than I'd like it to be. It's a bit darker than I'd like it to be, but all right, it's all good. Blood Nose is here. Hello, Blood Nose. All right, so you know what? Seeing as how the chat here is alive and well, let's go with this chat. First let's see if there are any questions on the Q&A side. What does wonky mean? Wonky means not centered, unbalanced, kind of shaky. That's what wonky means. Sneezer, what makes it a happy fast? I.e., do you drink or eat specific things you wouldn't on a sad fast? No. It's simply because of the origin of the fast. The Holiday of Atonement is there for us to put food and drink and sexual desire aside for a day and focus on the spiritual and connect to that higher part of us through jubilation and through the coming together of the male and female divine presence in the holiest of ways, seeing as how the high priest enters the holiest of holies one time, right? One day a year, and puts incense on top of the cover, on top of the kaporet where the kuruvim were. I think I'm coughing now because I haven't had anything to drink all day. What makes it a happy fast is the fact that it's such a happy day, it's such a joyous holiday that you don't need food and drink. Do you understand what I'm saying? Whereas a fast of mourning and of sadness, they are both of atonement, but of a different kind. The Holiday of Atonement is about getting higher. The different fasts, right? And so we fast. The holidays, the fasts of mourning that are strewn throughout the Hebrew year, the fasts of mourning are in memory of terrible things that happened to the Hebrew/Jewish people, right, to the Israelites throughout history. Also, the happy fast, the holiday of atonement, precedes any of the fasts of mourning. It was only later, much later, that different fasts of mourning were put in place by our sages inside of the inside of the Hebrew calendar, if you will. So you do eat and drink specific things on the eve of the holiday of atonement. Traditionally, you can have, I mean, some people do have 5 meals, small ones, right? 5 corresponding with the 5 prohibitions that later come into effect at nightfall until the stars come out the following night. On the holiday of atonement, you are prohibited of doing 5 certain things. That corresponds to the tip of the Yod and the Yod He Vav He, right? The Tetragrammaton, the 4-letter name of God, where that 5th, we were talking about the fact that we get high on Yom Kippur, we get high on the holiday of atonement, and that's that tip of the Yod. It's not an entire letter, but it's the tip of a letter that signifies that unknowable 5th level. So that's a happy fast, and you're supposed to eat. It says, whoever eats and drinks properly on the eve of the holiday of atonement, it's as if he fasted on the eve of the day and the day itself, like a 2-day fast, because eating and drinking properly, merrily, joyfully on the eve of the holiday of atonement is like a fast in and of itself. Much like people have fasts of speech, fasts of meditation. Some people, Christians mainly, call the Nazarite vow if they take one, a fast of some kind. And so eating and drinking on the eve of Yom Kippur, according to our sages, is like fasting for 2 days, the eve and the day of. As for eating before a fast, there are, for instance, in the 9th of Av, exactly 3 weeks from today, there is the fast of the 9th of Av, the destruction of the second and first temple, and other things that happened on the 9th of Av, different expulsions and terrible things for Jews throughout history. And it is customary to eat an egg. I mean, again, I don't eat eggs, but it is customary to eat, not make a joyous meal, but to eat one dish. And some people eat eggs to symbolize the cyclic nature of existence and how, good times will follow bad times. And so it's up to us to, let's say, break the cycle of mourning and sadness and have these days become days of jubilation and dancing and singing once we do get our act together and are able to to have the days, to merit that these days become days of dancing and celebration. Peace and Coffee asks, do you decide to wear your prayer shawl on high holidays? Well, if I go to synagogue, I do. But because my prayer shawl is made of wool, I will only wear it, right, and I don't use any animal products. I will only wear my prayer shawl if I'm inside of a synagogue in order to cover my head, and that's only because I would not want to cover my head. But if I'm in a place where head coverings are customary, even though my hair is a sign of consecration, I'll wear it to be respectful of the place, and I'll put something over my head. But I don't want to put just a regular cloth yarmulke on my head, so I put the prayer shawl over my head. Also, I put the prayer shawl like way over, so it covers my face as well, and I'm able to have that seclusion within the congregation, because you know me, I love that spontaneous prayer. I love that that being alone, that hitbodedut, right, which is that time alone with the Most High. And so even if I'm among a congregation, I'll usually cover myself fully with the prayer shawl in order to just have that, I'm sorry for all the coughing, really. I haven't coughed this way in a while. Oy. Hell, if I don't stop coughing, I might just stop the live stream. But okay, we'll see. It's because it's not respectful to you guys out there to have me coughing and coughing. I mean, about 2 years ago, I think that's why I stopped broadcasting to begin with, right? I had that long COVID, if that's what it was, and I would not stop coughing for weeks. I later found out that it was just an allergic reaction to dust mites. And I've been trying to take care of it. I actually have not, well, I haven't been taking good care of it in the last couple of weeks, but oh well, that's besides the point. In your personal opinion, asks Peace and Coffee, is there a distinction between Jewish and Hebrew? Yes, there is. All Jews are Hebrews, but not all Hebrews are Jews, because some Hebrews are of the 10 lost tribes, the kingdom of Israel, and some Hebrews are not from Judea, or the kingdom of Judah, or they're not of the tribe of Judah. And so Jewish refers to the remnants of the kingdom of Judah, and I am of the tribe of Levi, traditionally, that came back with the remnants of the kingdom of Judah, while Hebrew encompasses the 12 tribes of Israel and the unified kingdom. And because Hebrew is more unified in the way that I view it, that's why I prefer it to Jewish. Bloodnose asks, are you familiar with the prophecy that when you see the harlot of abomination standing the holy place? Wait, hang on, there's something, wait, hang on a sec. Select question, here, I selected the question, let's go back to the live chat. Are you familiar with the prophecy that when you see the harlot of abomination standing in the holy place, you should leave? I am not familiar with that prophecy. Can you enlighten me, please? I'm not sure what that means. I'm definitely not sure what that means, so do enlighten me. All right, well, seeing as how I went over from the questions, are there any more there? No, not yet. Okay, so no questions yet. No more questions other than the should I leave? I don't know that prophecy, so please do enlighten me. Let's go back to this chat. Oh yeah, let's go back to this chat. Where was I? Here I was. Cool beard, bro. Who has forced you not to cut them? Sneezer says it's part of the Nazarite oath. Well, first of all, it's not an oath, it's a vow. Those are two very different things. As for the fact that it's part of the vow, that is false. It's only the hair on the head that is part of the Nazarite vow. The beard can be shaven at any given moment. Nobody has forced me not to cut my beard. I have not trimmed my beard since I was 17, basically. Of course, it was just like a little strip on my chin. And a tiny wisp of a mustache in those days, and it has come in. It came in really after I was 20 and I got married. After my marriage, things really started to pick up with the beard. I assume. I may just go with the dreads that are. Right, so these are the dreads are. Why is he coughing so much? Yes, I'm coughing. Yes, I'm coughing, unfortunately. I'm not sure why. Sneezer says, seriously, I don't know. He doesn't normally, might be coming down with something. No, I think it's just because I'm speaking now and using my voice after not having anything to drink. I was kind of parched throughout the day. Obviously, I didn't have any water. But I don't know. If it keeps happening, maybe I'll just say goodbye, because it's not respectful to you for me to keep coughing. And that's, as I said, why I stopped live streaming for a long time previously. Robert says, do you have any tips on fasting? Well, it depends on the nature of the fast. What are you hoping to achieve with the fast? How long are you fasting? Is it a day? Is it from sundown to sundown? Is it intermittent fasting for health and diet reasons? Is it for spiritual reasons? Do you mean food and drink? Do you mean speech? Do you mean a fast from, people take a dopamine fast? That's very much encouraged. We do that pretty much every Shabbos. So I'm on board with that. So it depends on the nature of the fast. As for tips on fasting, by and large, I would say try not to focus on that which you are abstaining from, because otherwise you're kind of perhaps missing the point of the fast. You know what I'm saying? Give room for something else to manifest. When you make room by abstaining from, let's say, in this case of today, food and drink, you make a vessel, right, that is not filled with food and drink, but something else can enter it, something more spiritual, metaphysical, right, having to do with atonement, having to do with returning to the covenant, returning to Torah, returning to commandments, returning to the path of God. So that's what I would say. Just try not to focus or obsess over what it is that you are abstaining from, because I think you might be missing the point then. But it depends on the nature of your particular fast. Reginald, I keep seeing it as VII, but it's VIL. Reginald says, what is happening in Gaza? I don't know what to believe. First of all, I commend you for not knowing what to believe. Second of all, I'm not there right now. I'm in Jerusalem, but by and large, here's what's happening in Gaza. There are innocent civilians there that are being terrorized by a group called Hamas. It has a militant wing. It's not all terrorists, but they have a militant wing that is very, very, very cruel and inhumane. And it is terrorizing its own civilians, and it's denying them proper care, humanitarian aid, shelter. And it is ruling Gaza with an iron fist, having taken over the elections by force pretty much in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. What is happening in Gaza is that the IDF is there to remove our hostages, well, not Hamas's Israeli hostages, military and civilian alike, and the IDF is also there to make sure that what happened on October 7th will never, ever, ever happen again. And this means that changes need to be made on the state level of the government of Israel, on the military level of the IDF, and in Gaza itself, because Hamas is a terrorist organization, and it must be uprooted as a group, because you cannot uproot an ideology. But hopefully, once Hamas is out of power and other people control it, I have no idea who, far be it from me to say, not Hamas, let's put it that way, we will be able in time, and God willing, to de-radicalize the Gazan population, and then we can take it from there. That's what I'm thinking. Cam Strax the Nezer, he has done with yours before. You seem to have experienced on it. Not sure. Okay, so you're talking about coughing. I'm not sure what you're talking about. He's more open-minded than most Jews I've met. I'm a regular after about 2 weeks. Okay. Hamas, Robert says, has put their civilians in trouble. Right, pretty much what I was saying, Robert. Spot on. Spot on. Sneezer says sometimes he's days behind in the chat, skips ahead now and then anyway, so I do brief, quick replies to keep people participating. Yes, indeed. And it is appreciated. Bloodnose says the lighting is great. Oh, okay, good to know. Free Palestine, asks Reginald, with 2 question marks. Yes, we must free Gaza from Hamas. That's what I say. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Palestine's origins are in the 1960s, and Palestine, as a mandate, has its origins in the British Empire, and after the first World War and whatnot. But if we're talking about the people who others call Palestinians, because before 1948, the Jews, the Christians, and everyone else who was in the British Mandate of Palestine was also Palestinian. So that doesn't really mean anything. But for all intents and purposes, those who are living in Gaza, let's call them the people of Gaza, I want them to be free of the reign of terror of Hamas. I want them to be de-radicalized, and I want them to flourish, and I want them to thrive, and I want them to live side by side with Israel in peace. That's what I would want. So, free Palestine from Hamas, I say. No, I think they want a substantial sum for it, says... Right, free Palestine, as opposed to Palestine for cash. Reginald says, the blood of Jesus is the only atonement for sin. Well, Reginald, this is where you and I would disagree. I am not a follower of Jesus, and I think that his blood is not an atonement for anything but his own life, possibly, since, right, we all do wrong sometimes. So if his blood was spilled, it was for his generation, perhaps, if he was a sage and a righteous man, and for his own, wrongdoings, because he was only human. So that's my take on it. Kumdav Pardeep. Hello, hi, good to see you here. What's up? Shed for every other, said Sneezer. Again, we disagree on that, because I don't follow that doctrine or theology. Sneezer says that would almost be like a fast on fasting after. Can't be self-punishing anymore, have to be happy. Prevents the idea of over-purification. I wonder what you mean. Is this in regards to what I said earlier about prayers? Is it about fasting? Speaking of which, let's see if there are any new questions here. Okay. Any new questions? Peace and coffee. Do you take honey in tea? No, because I don't partake of any animal products, and so I don't take honey in my tea. However, honey is like honey. I could conceptually I could take it or leave it, because the bees do make a lot more than what they require. However, I did not get permission from the bees, and so I will not partake of their honey. So no, because I don't consume animal products. I don't partake of honey. But it is the more I could go with or without it as far as the veganism is concerned. Peace and Coffee says, if ultra-Orthodox Jews won't serve in the military, is a compromise if they serve Magen David Adom. Yes, any national service where they are of use to the community is preferable to them doing what it is that they are doing. I am very much in favor of Torah. I am very much a fan of Torah. I am very much a fan of people who learn Torah. Wait, what happened here? Am I on? Am I not? I am? Okay. I'm very much a fan of those who learn Torah. However, I also think that people should do their duty to their nation and to their state and to their home, which means that if you're not going to join the army, fair enough, but you should do national service, and you certainly should not sit around and not do either one of those and hide behind the tent of Torah and the yoke of your yeshiva. That is not okay at all. What I do agree on is that there should be, let's say, 1,000 people, let's say 1,000, that are, oh man, I'm tired, I'm losing my English here. Anyway, 1,000 people, let's say, whose job is to learn Torah. Just like we have the 10 men of leisure, the Asara Batlanim, as it were. We had 10 men in every community that were paid a wage, a stipend by the community in order for them to be in the shul, in the synagogue, wherever it was, and learn Torah. That's something I'm willing to accept. Between 10 and 1,000 people. The rest need to join the army or do military service. And once they are done doing their duty, if they're in the reserves, fine. If not, fine. And once they are done, then they can go back to learning Torah full-time if they want, if they can sustain themselves. But I don't like the idea of an entire population paying taxes for other people to sit and do something which is not according to Torah. The Torah teaches us to work for our living and learn Torah at the same time, side by side, Torah va'avodah. The fact that we have people throughout history who have been paid to sit and learn Torah, who have been paid to sit and pray, who have been paid to sit and be like a spiritual backbone of a community, that's something that is good, but not hundreds of thousands, not dozens of thousands like we have now. Between 10 and 1,000, that's something I'm willing to go with. I mean, even 1,000 might be taking it too far, but I'm willing to accept up to 1,000 because I do know how strong and how protective and how amazing Torah can be. And I appreciate the fact that there are those who want to dedicate their lives to it by abstaining from work, abstaining from military service, abstaining from national service, and just going full-time all in on Torah. Fine. But we should not be paying for it. We should be paying for a very, very small amount, and the rest of them should either get donations from their own community, like in days of old, or go out and get a job. Get a part-time job, get a quarter-time job, and sit and learn Torah the rest of it. I mean, I have a lot to say about it because I grew up with Torah, and I did serve in the army, and I did go to yeshiva, and the different things that happened. That's my basic idea. I don't entirely begrudge them that they don't want to serve in the police or the military, but because I do understand where they're coming from in the sense of these are secular institutions and we are religious men, so we shouldn't mix. It's like, you know what? If you're going to treat this land as if it's a foreign secular power, then treat it actually like this land as if you were in exile and you need to do what the ruler of the state says. You need to do what the czar says. You need to do what the king says. You need to do what the the governor says, right? So I don't see why the fact that, and by the way, ultra-Orthodox Jews all around the world work for a living. It's only here. It's only here. And it started in 1948. And in 1948, David Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister of Israel, he gave a special, what would it be? Like a special status to a few hundred, it was at 500 or 600 people. 500 or 600 people, right, who said, we do not want to serve in the army, we want to study Torah, somebody else should serve, we serve God here. And he let them. But in the course of the history of the state of Israel, in its 70 odd years of existence, it's become many, many thousands, and that can't be. It simply cannot be. And that's beside the point. I mean, beside that other point of many Orthodox, ultra-Orthodox people not working for a living and depending on government benefits and handouts and whatnot. And I'm not for that either. Not at all. Peace and Coffee says, I only meant if there were ultra-Orthodox Jews who were gentle and peaceful, promoting nonviolence, so pacifism. Right, let's say you're a pacifist. Okay, you declare yourself a pacifist, and you go serve somewhere else. For a year or 2 or 3, go serve your country, serve your community, serve your people, your brothers and sisters, your fellow Israelis, be they Druze or Muslim or Christian. Serve them. Do your time like the rest of us. So that's what I'm saying. Of course it's okay if they decide to go to Magen David Adom instead. Although even people who are gentle and peaceful and nonviolent can go to the army. A small fraction of the army are combat soldiers, forward field soldiers. The other part, most of the military, is not non-combative, non-violent. Well, I don't know if non-violent, but non-combative at any rate. I can't say it's non-violence because there's also electronic warfare and there are people who push buttons instead of triggers. You know what I'm saying? To fire missiles and rockets from far away, whatever the case may be. So I'm not going to go with non-violent. The army as an institution is a kind of violent institution by definition. But, those who are pacifists should still do their part. I don't accept the fact that, again, if you're talking about a specific number of, a few hundreds, fine. Even up to 1,000, like I said. But the rest of them, no. And pacifism is not a... Pacifism is not an excuse for not serving your country. It's an excuse for not going to the army. Fine. I'll grant that. It's not an excuse for not serving your country. Uriah! Hello, Uriah. How you doing? Good to see you.
What?
No, a dude here is named Uriah. It's not you, is it?
Okay.
אתה מישראל? כן, אני מישראל. אנה מן ישראל. Hello, hi there. Uriah. Good to see you. Ariel is in the house. Yodidiao is in the house. What's life beyond death? Asks Cam Stract. Life beyond death is when we partake of the fruit of the tree of life, which was left behind in Eden when we were kicked out. It was placed there, but we were never forbidden. It was never forbidden. It was simply put under guard. So if you read the book of Genesis, you'll see that life after death means eradicating death and hanging on to life through partaking of the fruit of the tree of life. If you're asking about what happens after you die, but if you haven't partaken of the fruit of the tree of life yet, there are many theories and teachings and traditions on what happens there. So there is no set one idea or concept of what it is that happens. There are many different, depending on your life. But I would say that your life beyond death depends on your life. Is it possible that multiverse and aliens exist? I'm inclined to say yes. And somebody asked about aliens, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Hey, hello. Hi. I hope I didn't wake you. Okay, good. Hey, James Bong is here. Nice to see you, man. Okay, let's see. Yodidialu said, wait, did I miss something? No, that wasn't him. So Nizar says, when you know that every other is in fact a part of God just like you, every conversation is prayer. That's an interesting way to look at it. I like that. Again, I don't agree. We don't agree on exactly the nature of God, Sinizar, but I can agree that certain conversations can be like prayer. Sinizar says, no, he doesn't have eyes that see. The prophecy he refers to is from Revelation, and it mentions a time when the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel, beware, steps into the temple. Oh yeah, I'm going to read this again. What? A time when the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel, beware, steps into the temple. I don't know what you're... Okay, and what it actually means, he says, because I was going to say I'm not sure what that means, is beware when ego rises up in you, Satan in the temple. You are not the biggest ego. Oy. Um, well, look, mixing the sacred and the profane does have its drawbacks. The idea is to sort of pull the profane, if you will, into the sacred. The idea is to be a light that shines so brightly that the darker spots are overpowered by the light. And because the light that shines the brightest reveals the darkest reveals even the smallest of dark spots, right? Even the smallest negativities. Are you aware your water bottle makes a crazy noise? Yes, I am. This was my gym bottle for a long time. I have a new one, but the reason is that the top is a little, it's malfunctioning. And so what you're hearing, is air coming in, or something to that effect, because the top is faulty. That's why I stopped using it. That's why I stopped using it. The top is a little faulty. Air, comes in or whatever. It leaks a little bit if I turn it upside down. Unlike my current bottle, which doesn't do that. Not a wonky noise. Same thing is happening in Yemen with Houthis, by the way, said Sneezer. Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll stop. Maybe I'll stop because I can't keep coughing like this. It's not respectful to you guys. Yes, I'm not going to keep coughing. It's not respectful to you guys. I am going to stop. Hopefully tomorrow it's a new day. It's not a fast day. I'll be able to have a regular day with proper consumption of food and drink, and I'll be able to come with you here 9 p.m. tomorrow. I think that's what I'm going to do. God willing. So now I have this chat to continue, and the previous chat, and the previously previous chat. Oh, pardon. And all I can do is give thanks. Thanks and praises to you guys and to the Most High. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry I have to cut it short. I'm sorry I'm going to have to cut it short. It's the coughing. I don't want to disrespect you and cough every few seconds. I want to answer your questions and be, if I can, and be here 110%. Wait, I just want to see if there are any other questions that came in. No. Perfect. Oh, wait. Peace and Coffee said, I agree with you. I just meant if some were conscientious objectors and be a doctor or a nurse. Yes, I understand. So yeah, you have my view on that. Definitely, but not everybody. I've served with, I was a field medic. I've served with plenty of doctors and paramedics who left everything and came to serve. So, I don't. On that note, on the note of coughing, I'm sure some of you, by the way, don't mind the coughing. Maybe some of you do mind the coughing, but just because I want to be more respectful, I'm going to wait and continue this tomorrow. So I'm sorry to cut it short. Good night from Jerusalem. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the subs. Thanks for the chat, the engagement. I appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. You people could be doing anything right now, anything, but you're here with me. God willing, also you'll join me tomorrow for a coughless live stream, 9 p.m. Israel time. Until then, my apologies. See you later.